What is going on to all my dwarves, goblins, orcs, and everything in between out there? It is your boy, your man, Stooksy Camel. We love you. Back at it with another review, and we are continuing our Lord of the Rings / Hobbit review series, building up to the newest movie, Lord of the Rings War of Rohirrim, coming out Friday. So stay tuned for that review as well. But and today we are reviewing the first Lord of the Rings movie, that being the Lord of the Rings, the anime movie from 1976, I'm pretty sure. But before we get into actual beginning of the video, what's up, guys? Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel, because number one, it's absolutely free. Number two, also maybe help with the YouTube algorithm, recommend the video to more people, and maybe they could join. And do feel free to comment your thoughts on the Lord of the Rings animated movie down below. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, before we get into the actual beginning of the review itself, let's give a quick plot synopsis, shall we? So let's get right into transition and choose them, yeah.
The wise old wizard Gandalf entrusts the young hobbit Frodo with a magical ring. Soon dark forces are after Frodo, so he must leave his peaceful home and travel to the ominous Mount Doom, where the ring must be destroyed. Accompanied by a trio of hobbit friends, Frodo is also aided by the mysterious Aragorn and other heroic allies.
Alright, so as for this one, I kind of went in, honestly, with very low expectations, because I didn't think the original animated Hobbit movie was bad. I just thought it was okay, and I thought it was, it wasn't, I didn't love it, to say the least. So I was going like, oh, this is going to be the same, ain't it? And with that being said, let's just get into the actual review itself. So starting off with the good, we always start off with the good here. The animation. I think the animation is way better than the Hobbit movie. And this animation, I think, still holds up. It is very similar to classic Disney movies like
Sleeping Beauty, Peter Pan, and others, where they have actual movement in their face, they have actual emotion.
However, that's the only good I have. And most of my caveats, most of my problems with the film is in the mixed category. I only have one true negative. All the rest is mixed, because I didn't know overall how to necessarily feel about this film. So, alright, so starting off with the mixed, we have the movie's length. So the movie is like about 2 hours and 12 minutes or something around that range, where it's very... it is kind of a blessing to have that in there when I'm reviewing this movie series, because it is shorter than the actual Lord of the Rings and Hobbit live-action movies, where those are like 2.5 hours long. Still, however, I still think it is a little too long, and especially for an animated movie around that time. Usually they go for about an hour. This time around, they go for like 2 hours and 12 minutes, which I think, why it's mixed is because it tells the first two stories of the Lord of the Rings movies. So it tells the Fellowship of the Ring, and it tells the Two Towers. It tells those two movies. So in that retrospect, it kind of works, but still is quite long for an animated movie for the kids. So yeah. And also another one, the darker aspects of the film. This one surprised me by how dark it was, and it was surprisingly pretty, there were a couple, like, blood splatters and stuff coming out of people, and I was going, dang, this is a kid's movie back in the day, and, I was a little surprised by that, so I kind of liked it, but then also it's, the mixed aspect is more necessarily for other people, because I don't know necessarily how they would feel about their kids seeing that at this age, so I don't know. Also, a couple of it is cutaway too, so there's that. The voice acting, I think, is a lot better this time around. However, it's, still quite a few of those old school type vibes to it with the voices. And I don't know if I loved it or not. And the final mixed aspect I have is the transitions into live action. So this movie is very weird. So at the beginning of the movie, I don't know how to explain it, but basically it's live action, but it's animated at the same time. It's people doing the motion capture work for the animation. And I overall didn't know how to feel about it, really, because it kind of is a little bit
Dated in some aspects, but otherwise it is quite inventive for the time because I haven't seen any other anime movies do that. So maybe it actually is a positive on the movie.
That is the mix done. Now let's move on to the bad, and I only have one. It does drag quite a bit for a 2 hours and 12-minute animated movie. So, yeah, this movie I think I need to rewatch again. We have that new Gollum movie coming out. I think, is it next year or 2026? I'll rewatch it whenever the new Gollum movie comes out. Maybe I'll have a different point of view of the movie there. But with that being said, guys, let's just bring out the toxic meter. And I'm gonna give this right in between a toxic disappointment and a toxic goodness. It's right in between there because I still don't necessarily know how to feel about it. I think overall I liked it. I didn't love it though. Because basically, if I grew up with this one, probably this one would be a bit higher, but it's basically it does the same exact thing. If you grew up on the newer movies, it does the exact same thing as those first two movies. There's not really anything different about it, but I grew up with those original Lord of the Ring live action movies, so I love those a lot more. But with that being said, guys, that is just my thoughts on the Lord of the Rings animated movie from 1976 or whatever time frame. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on the movie down below. Stay tuned for later today because I will be doing my Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring review. So, and I'll say that I have that quite in high regard. So stay tuned for that. But with that being said, guys, I'll see y'all next one, everybody. Peace out.